Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. This week we're going to be talking about robot vacuums, and we'd like to thank Jen from everydayoldhouse.com for suggesting this episode. And you can search her website for an article she wrote about robot vacuums, and she has a great story about their dog. We're going to be having a 5-day promotion for our new book Wednesday, July 24th through July 28th, and you can download a copy for free on Amazon.
You should probably say the name.
It's going to be called Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, Book 8. The term robot was first used in a play by Carol Capek in 1921, and his robots decide to kill all humans.
Lovely.
In 2005, Cornell University created a robot that can build copies of itself.
Haven't they seen any movie ever?
And in 2006, Cornell University built a multi-legged robot that can adapt to injury. So if they damage one of its legs, it learns how to walk with the injury, and they plan on using this technology for robots on Mars. Pretty interesting. In 2019, the University of Pennsylvania created nanobots that can be injected into people and controlled wirelessly. So one day they plan on being able to deliver medicine and perform surgery from within your body. One of the first robot vacuums was developed by Electrolux in 1996.
Wow.
So most robot vacuums are circular or D-shaped and will have 1 or 2 spinning brushes to loosen and lift dirt and debris under the vacuum inlet area. Some inexpensive models may not have a brush, and a brush is definitely going to be much more effective at cleaning. Most are also going to have 1 or 2 spinning side brushes to clean along walls and get into corners. The average size is a little over a foot in diameter, and one feature to compare is the height. 3 to 4 inches is common, but the Bob Sweep pet hair robot vacuum your parents have is 4.5 inches tall, and the Dyson Cyclonic robot vacuum is 4.7 inches tall. If you know the height of the space under your furniture, like your bed, it can help you pick a robot that's going to fit under it so you can keep that area clean. I spoke to Eufy, it's EUFY, and they make the RoboVac. They said some things to compare when you're shopping for a robot vacuum is the battery life, suction power, and the navigation options.
Okay.
If you have a smaller home, a condo, or an apartment, battery life may not be as important as the suction power, especially if you have pets or kids with a lot of hair or crumbs to pick up. The larger your home, the more important the runtime is, especially if you have a robot that doesn't resume cleaning from where it stopped to recharge. If you have a lot of carpet, many robots will actually increase the suction power while they're on top of a carpet, and so that's going to decrease your battery life. Many of the batteries I saw were rated for around 60 minutes. 90 minutes or longer would be better for a larger home.
How long does it take to recharge?
I saw a 2 to 4 hour recharge time on some of the units I looked at.
Okay.
When you're comparing the suction of a traditional vacuum, we've talked about airflow, CFMs, air watts, or water lift. But with most of the robot vacuums I looked at, they were using Pascals, so it's Pascals, and it's abbreviated capital P, lowercase a, and PA is a measurement that's used worldwide. In the US, they usually use PSI. I saw Pascals defined as a measure of pressure that equals a force of magnitude 1 Newton perpendicularly on an area 1 square meter.
What does any of that mean?
I don't know, but did you know meter is spelled M-E-T-E-R in the US, and meter is M-E-T-R-E in most other countries?
Yes.
I didn't. Pascal was a French mathematician, physicist, writer, and philosopher. He's famous for his triangle, the Pascals Triangle. It's like a number pattern.
Okay. Also,
for some of his quotes. One of his quotes, "I have made this letter longer than usual because I lack the time to make it shorter." Very zen. And all man's miseries derive from not being able to sit in a quiet room alone.
So back to vacuums?
On the robots I looked at, I found 400 to 1,000 PA on the lower cost units and 1,400 to 2,000 PA on the premium robots. The higher the number, the better the suction's going to be.
Okay.
For navigation, there's a couple of different systems, but the two main ways that they're going to move around your house to clean is using their sensors and semi-randomly working until they need a charge. The other system is mapping technology.
Okay. So when it's doing the random pattern thing,
Right.
It's not going out in the same direction every time.
Right. Yeah, and some of the reviews I read, it makes people crazy that it looks like it's missing big sections of people's carpet.
But if it's going out 2 or 3 times a week, it's hitting everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I've seen some studies, I've seen pictures where they show over a period of time. So if it's going out every other day or 3 times a week, it's amazing how it will cover the whole area. I've got a robotic lawnmower in my backyard, and it does the random pattern also. And when it goes out the first time in spring, the first couple of times it mows, there may be a couple of sections that it didn't hit. But after a week or so, it's completely covered all the time. And then the rest of the year, it looks great.
Right.
A lot of the programming and how a robot moves around is based on work done by research at MIT. And they were studying insects and how they navigate the world. When I spoke to Eufy, they call it the bounce and go technology. And each manufacturer is going to have their own system. It'll vary on the amount of sensors that the robot has, but they all have rules. So the robot might start out in a circular pattern until it hits something, and then it'll follow a wall until it hits something.
It doesn't have to physically hit something.
Right, yeah. It could physically hit something with its bumpers, and that'll tell it to move around. Or it could be using its sensor and stop just before it hits something, and then it's going to change direction. And each time it changes direction, the amount of the turn can vary. So over time, it will clean your entire space.
Okay.
Some robots have multiple sensors in the bumpers so they know what side or what area has been touched. So if it touches the left side of the bumper, it might turn right or it might spin. If it gets caught in an area and it hits one side and it starts to spin the other way and hits the other side, then it'll tell it to back up. Some use cameras or lasers to sense objects to stop or go around them. Some robots will slow down and test an object to see if it can pass through.
Like what?
Like the skirt under a bed or furniture, or see if they can pass through a curtain. That's wild, huh?
Yes, until they take over the world.
Wall sensors use infrared light to find your walls so the robot can follow along and sweep dirt into the vacuum and keep it away from your baseboards or walls, and that prevents it from scuffing them up. Cliff sensors are constantly measuring the space below the robot to prevent it from falling downstairs or off a surface. And it's pretty amazing. I was playing with your parents' robot on their kitchen table, and it would race towards the edge and then would stop and turn around and keep trying to get off the table. And then I set up a bunch of cereal boxes on the table, and the sensors in the robot would stop it just before it hit the box, and then it would flip around. It's pretty wild. The one problem, though, with many of these robot vacuums is dark or black colored carpet. The Cliff sensor thinks it's a drop-off, and it'll turn the vacuum around. Thick carpet can also confuse the sensors. Eufy recommends carpets less than 1 inch thick for their robots, but check the models you're looking at. They also recommended not having carpets with tassels. It can tangle in the wheels or the brushes. Wheel sensors calculate how far the robot's traveled, and some use lasers to estimate your room size and then how long or how far it should travel to clean the room. Robots that have dirt sensors will go back over an area till it's clean.
Interesting.
More expensive robots will use mapping technology, and this is great for big homes. Some use cameras, some use lasers, or a combination of both along with their other sensors, and they're building maps of all the rooms the robot's going to be cleaning. And once it maps all the areas, it can make the most direct path while it's cleaning. And doesn't have to go back over areas where it's been. So you're going to save battery life. It can also remember where it's cleaned and resume from where it left off if it needs to stop and charge. With systems that use Wi-Fi and an app, you can see the map on your phone and you can schedule cleaning for a specific area. You can set up schedules. You can also create a boundary to keep the robot out of an area.
Yeah, because like my parents with their robotic vacuum, it kept going into the bathroom and getting stuck on the floor rugs in there.
Right. Well, it's cool if you have a desk with a lot of wires or electrical cords underneath, or if you have a room for your kids and they didn't pick up their toys one day,
Right.
rather than making them pick everything up, you can just tell the robot, okay, today, don't go in that room. For the robots that don't use mapping technology, some of them work with magnetic tape or a device that sends out an infrared light, and you can use these to stop a robot from going into certain areas. So if you don't want it going everywhere in your house.
Okay. Or you can close the door.
Or put a cereal box in the way. But not all models have that feature, so it's a good one to compare.
Okay.
Some other features to look for are tangle-free brushes or robots that will stop and reverse if they get tangled. If you don't have a smart robot that works with an app, some will come with remote control so you can turn it on and off and set your schedule easier than working on the robot itself. Compare the climbing threshold. If you have different heights between rooms or area rugs, many I looked at could climb a 3/4 inch obstacle. Some are higher or lower. You should compare the carpet modes and the carpet height recommendations. Does it have extra suction power when it's on a carpet? Is it designed for pet hair? Will it automatically adjust to different surfaces and increase suction when it comes across more dirt? Compare the dustbin size, because you have to empty it when it gets full.
No kidding.
It's nice if it has an alert. Some have an alert, especially if you have the smart apps. If it gets stuck on something,
Does it talk?
It'll let you, yeah.
I'm stuck. I'm full.
Oil me, please.
Do you have to oil a vacuum?
No.
So then
But
why would it say that?
I just think all robots want a little oil.
Like the Tin Man?
Right, exactly. iRobot has the Roomba i7 Plus. The charging station has a tower built into it that sucks out the robot's bin, and it
No
can
way.
hold 30 bins worth of debris.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. If you have a multi-story home, you're going to have to take your robot up and down the stairs. And many of the mapping robots will have automatic room recognition, so it's going to know what level it's on and where it's cleaning. Pretty amazing. With the lower cost robots, you can take it up or down the stairs and then just turn it on and tell it to clean. And then once it needs to be charged or when it's done cleaning, then you're going to have to bring it down to the level where the charger's at.
Couldn't you just get multiple robots?
Yeah, there you go. And if you're going to be carrying a robot up and down the stairs, one thing you should compare is the weight. Some robots can be started and stopped with a smart speaker, so check that it'll work with your system. And compare the filters. HEPA filters trap 99.97% of particles 0.3 microns or larger, so very tiny particles.
What does HEPA stand for?
HEPA is High Efficiency Particulate Air Filter, and scientists working on the Manhattan Project developed some of the first HEPA filters, and they were capturing radioactive particles, so that's how small the particles are. And these are great for people with allergies. I would also compare the types of filters, if they can be cleaned or they need to be replaced and how often.
Okay.
Compare the noise level. If you're going to be using your robot while watching TV or sleeping, it's going to be measured in decibels, and it's going to have a dB, so a lowercase d and a capital B, and that's the abbreviation for decibels.
Obviously.
But for most robots, it really shouldn't matter, or depending on your schedule. If you're going to be out during the day, you can schedule it to clean while you're out, and schedule it every day, every other day. The more often it goes out, the cleaner your house is going to be.
Well said, JJ.
That's insightful.
Yes.
I saw an interesting feature that the LG HomeBot robot vacuum has. So if you're out of your house, you can set it up. If it detects motion, it will send photos or live videos to your phone. So you can use it like a security robot. That's cool, huh? You can be cleaning your house and just keeping an eye on everything.
Nice.
I read some manuals online, and a couple of things that caught my eye was avoid liquids, chemicals, broken glass, construction debris, burning objects, and pet waste. They said remove cords that could tangle, remove area rugs that are thicker than 1/2 inch or have tassels, keep anti-drop sensors clean to prevent it from going down the stairs. Clean the dust collector and your filters regularly. Clean the brush, sensors, charging pins, and the side brush regularly. And do not use on shag carpet. For the charger, it's going to need to be plugged in, and you're going to have a certain amount of free space around it, usually not close to stairs. You want to keep it plugged in between use and keep the battery fully charged for the longest life. Excess buildup of hair can damage the parts that drive the brush. You want to keep the wheels free of debris and keep your sensors clean.
Okay.
The robots are becoming more popular. I looked at Home Depot and Lowe's online. Lowe's carries about 50 robot vacuums, and Home Depot, 70 robot vacuums.
Wow.
iRobot and Eufy both said that many of the robot owners are going to name their robot, and Jen from EverydayOldHouse.com named hers Blue. Some top-rated robot vacuums are from Eufy, EUFY, LG, just the letters L and G. iRobot, it's a small case I, capital R-O-B-O-T. Samsung, Neato, it's N-E-A-T-O. Ecovacs, it's E-C-O-V-A-C-S. Dyson, D-Y-S-O-N. Bob Sweep, it's B-O-B-S-W-E-E-P. And their pet models were rated very high.
Great. Do you have anything else to add?
If you have a small home, condo, or an apartment, you may not want all the smart features, just good suction and scheduling. For a larger home, you'd want to compare battery life, suction power, carpet modes, and you may want to look at the mapping technology to get the most efficient cleaning of all your rooms and to be able to set up boundaries. I would compare the warranties and be nice to your robot. Give it a name.
Let's wrap this up.
You can download a copy of our new book. It's called Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, Book 8. It's free from July 24th to July 28th, and you can download it from Amazon. If you'd like to subscribe to our podcast, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Himalaya, or your favorite podcast app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow Cindy on Twitter at FixItCohost. And you can follow us on Instagram, Fix It Home Improvement.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.